African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation on the 31st of May, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. As a result of decisive actions, units of the North Military Group liberated the settlement of Vodolagi in Sumy Oblast. Concentrations of manpower and equipment of 2 mechanized, 2 airborne assault brigades and a ranger brigade of the Ukrainian armed forces were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Malaya Korchakhovka, Varakino, Novaya Sich, Unikovka in Sumy Oblast and Bely Kaladas in Kharkiv Oblast. That the Ukrainian armed forces lost over 225 servicemen, 2 tanks, 4 armored combat vehicles, 6 cars, and 4 field artillery pieces. 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of forces continued to advance deep into the enemy's defenses. They defeated the formations of the mechanized, motorized infantry brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the National Guard Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kupiansk, Nechvolodovka, Grashevka, and Blagodatovka in the Kharkiv region. That the Ukrainian armed forces lost more than 220 servicemen, 5 armored combat vehicles, including 2 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carriers, 12 vehicles, 4 artillery pieces, and 2 ammunition depots. Units of the Southern Group of troops improved their position along the front line. They defeated the manpower and equipment of 3 mechanized and airmobile brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces in the areas of the settlements of Seversk, Pozino, Drushkovka, Ivanopoli, Serebryanka, and Konstantinovka of the Donetsk People's Republic. That the enemy lost up to 275 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, and 3 pickups. An electronic warfare station and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of forces took up more advantageous lines and positions. They defeated formations of 2 mechanized, airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Petrovskoy, Alexievka, Vladimirovka, Novoekonomicheskoy, and Novonikolaevka of the Donetsk People's Republic. That the enemy's losses amounted to 440 servicemen, 5 armored combat vehicles, 11 cars, and 3 field artillery pieces. As a result of active operations, units of the East Military Group liberated the settlement of Novopol in the Donetsk People's Republic. The manpower and equipment of the Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 2 territorial defense brigades were damaged in the areas of the settlements of Varvarovka, Malinovka, Zalaznikno, and Zaytishi in the Zaporizhia region. The Ukrainian armed forces lost up to 185 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 8 cars, and an electronic warfare station. Units of the Dnieper Group of forces defeated formations of the Coastal Defense Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and the Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Pavlivka in the Zaporizhia region, Nikolskoy and Antonovka in the Kherson region. That the enemy lost over 80 servicemen, 9 vehicles, 5 field artillery pieces, and 5 electronic warfare stations. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the groups of troops of the armed forces of the Russian Federation damaged warehouses of missile and artillery weapons, ammunition and fuel, workshops for the production of strike unmanned aerial vehicles, their storage sites, as well as temporary deployment points of units of the armed forces of Ukraine in 147 districts. A strike by an Iskander operational tactical missile system in Sumy Oblast destroyed 2 U.S.-made HIMARS launchers and ammunition for them. Air defense systems shot down 169 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 663 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 60,592 unmanned aerial vehicles, 609 anti-aircraft missile systems, 23,671 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,565 combat vehicles of multiple launch rocket systems, 25,491 field artillery and mortar guns, 36,243 units of special military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.